bootleg podcasts made for everyone by anyone. You are listening to The Rating is Right, a game show podcast based around the movies you love and their ratings. Think The Price is Right with a lower budget, less Bruce, and no prizes. Introducing your host, Ian Crow.
It's the rating. It's the rating. Rating. It's the rating. It's the rating.
Hello and welcome to the 8th episode of The Rating is Right. So before I introduce my co-hosts, let's just explain how this is going to work. Quite simply, my co-hosts will be guessing the ratings of a series of films, including whether they are higher or lower than the previous one. They'll be getting 1 point for a correct guess of higher or lower, an additional point for whoever is closest, and a whopping 3 points for anyone lucky enough to guess the rating bang on. The current winner will guess first each round to give the other contestant an advantage and a chance to catch up. The winner at the end of the episode will have the honour and privilege of giving a recommendation of a film that takes their fancy. Now that's sorted, let's meet my co-host. He's our current champion. It's George Robinson.
Hello. I'd like to also add current highest scoring contestant because the Fast and Furious episode obviously was a record-breaking win, and I don't think Owen can recover.
I also just want to slide in there as well, is that I was going to think of some kind of way to, demotivate you before, and I had to thought of that George was officially voted the least popular of the co-hosts on our Instagram poll a couple of weeks ago. So that's just to give Owen a little bit of boost there, that the fans are rooting him on. And just to introduce Owen, he is the man who is currently losing in the podcast, but he's also the guy who admits he doesn't wash his hands after having a pee.
Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this, yeah? This is what I do, okay? For the introduction. Okay. George is sweating already. So
George is sweating because it's stuff he's going to have to edit out, most likely. But continue.
No, I'm not. I'm keeping all of this.
I'm going in with my theory immediately from the start, yeah?
Yeah.
I know my penis is clean, okay? So if anything, I should wash my hands before, because I don't trust where my hands have been. So why do you touch yourself and then wash your hands?
But you
should wash your hands and then touch yourself. Surely that makes more logical sense.
You know that the dirty thing about your penis is the piss.
But you don't wash your penis, do you?
No, but like...
no, he's stumped. It's making sense to him. I broke through to George.
Oh my god, I need to go.
He's on board with my theory.
I need to teach all the kids at school tomorrow not to wash their hands.
Right, anyone who's listening, wash your hands before you go to the toilet, because the likelihood is your hands are dirtier than your genitals.
I mean, I would recommend that you wash your hands after as well. Just be very
Unless you're
thorough
George.
and clean. Well,
the hottest take we've had so far in an intro.
Yeah.
Well, that's the introduction's done. So, would you like to know what the subject is for our 8th episode?
Yes, please, Daddy.
Yeah. I think I know what it is.
You think? Have a guess then. What do you think it is?
I think it's the Rocky series, because I'm struggling to think of how many more series we could do. To be honest,
yeah, we're going to bow out on episode 8. We're done. We're done. That's it.
The concept's going to expire at some point, because how many film series can we do?
You could put things together in any category.
Yeah, I reckon Owen would expire first before we expire out any kind of content for the podcast. But that being said, so in this new podcast episode, I will challenge Owen and George to guess the ratings of films that star Keanu Reeves.
Ooh,
nice.
So I've gone along the same lines what you were thinking, Owen. But also,
a good twist.
3 is out this month, but also out this month in March is John Wick Chapter 4. So I thought I would get the old mate Keanu involved. Unfortunately, not a co-host just yet. Maybe on episode 159, 160, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe Owen can start a fight with this celebrity this time.
I'll just start calling everyone out.
Yeah,
exactly. At that point, they're going to have to
Everything
challenge you, aren't they? And that's the only way is by beating you at this game. Which, well, George is pretty good at that so far, so I'm sure he'll be pretty good also. So, George,
can I make one point before we continue?
Of course you can.
Going off the intro.
Of course you can.
Before we go any further, it doesn't matter how many points you score. The victory is the victory. The matter of the victory is irrelevant to the victory.
We spoke
the
about
amount
this
of points
last
you
time.
score doesn't matter.
Yeah, because if it comes down to a tie, you look at goal difference.
George, stop pretending to make football references. We know you don't understand football.
Hey, that is solid football logic right there.
So,
Thank you very much.
So, Owen, quick one then. I just
wanted to get it out.
Would you compare, say, a team winning the league on 75 points to a team winning the league on 100 points? Would you say,
I don't think it matters.
You don't think it matters at all?
No, nobody looks back on how many points you had. They just look at the stats and it says who won it.
Okay, well let's do it this way then. You've got two teams playing. One team beats a team like 50-0, and then another team wins 3-2.
I
don't think anyone's beaten anyone 50-0. I think that's
right,
a poor analogy.
It's
George's a football expert here, if you didn't know.
I meant a large amount. They win by a big margin versus a really tight game.
I think there's a thing called modesty. I think if you're 6 or 7-0 up, you pump the brakes, you take your best players off, you go easy. You don't kick a man when he's down.
Yeah, I don't have that.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think that's possible with George.
No.
He's definitely the kind of person who would kick you while you're down and also probably spit on you as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Just a good measure.
And take your wallet.
Yeah, I've already been voted the villain of the podcast, so I'm just gonna lean into that from now on.
He's a thug and a thief, so it has been voted. Everyone hates him. So this is why George just wants to win so badly. He just wants to hate on everyone who you voted against me? Well, I'm going to win every episode. So,
exactly.
George is turning on our audience.
He is turning on our audience.
They turned on me first.
This is his origin story.
Well, let's get cracking. Are you a big fan of Keanu? I mean, how can you not be a big fan if you are? I've had a lot.
He's just such a great bloke.
Yeah,
just such a nice guy.
I
prefer Nicolas Cage.
I mean, he's also great.
George's face.
They're very different people.
I'd rather it had been Nicolas Cage films, personally.
I mean, they're very different but very similar. I feel like they're both terrible actors, but they're loved by fans
take it back.
all over.
Nicolas Cage is a brilliant actor. Are you crazy?
He's a terrible actor.
Did you say Keanu Reeves is a terrible actor?
Yes, he is.
I mean, Keanu Reeves is terrible. Yeah,
I love him. He's a terrible actor.
He's not terrible.
He's awful.
I mean, I love the guy.
He's stoic. He's boring. He has no range.
You have no range. You can only lose. That's your only gear.
We'll see, won't we? We'll see who does Keanu more.
So before we jump in, just a recap of the last episode's score. It's actually a really, really close one. George did nip it with a 14-12 score. So that makes him 4-3 up. So Owen, you have a brilliant opportunity to make it level again, but George could go in the lead with 2 episode wins.
Do you know what it is, Ian? Nobody cares when George wins, so nobody remembers.
I would say that the most iconic win so far that we've had, and I think we reference this every episode, is the Christmas episode where you won in the sudden death, Owen. So I feel like you definitely have more memorable wins because there aren't as many of them.
And I went shirtless.
Well, you did go shirtless, and you did a knee sign on my wooden floor. I was really impressed by that. But let's get started. So George is the reigning champion, so he will be going first. So how we always start is I'll say the first film. At that point, you don't do high or lower. I just want you to guess the score of the movie, and whoever gets the closest will get the top points, and will take the advantage going forward. So the first film on the list for Keanu Reeves movies is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. So George, you get to go first. What are your initial thoughts on Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure? What do you feel like the score of that would be?
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and
Yes.
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Yeah.
Right. Which one's
Someone's a
which?
fan.
So the Excellent Adventure is the first one, and that's when they have the history assignment or project that they have to do. So they then travel back
Okay.
in time and get Napoleon and all these different kind of historical figures, and they bring it back to do a class kind of project.
And then the Bogus Journey, is that the one with death in it?
Yes.
Yeah, cool,
Yeah,
fabulous. I
that's-
remember
yeah.
the death one a lot more, and I think I prefer that one.
Oh,
For some reason.
Bogus to Excellent Adventure?
I think so, just because it sticks in my head.
Right,
I must
okay.
have. Maybe that's just because I saw it more recently. I saw it when I was an older kid. Who knows?
An older kid. You're still an older kid,
yeah.
really.
Yeah, exactly. When did this come out, Ian?
This came out. Oh, we're literally just getting it up. Actually, I believe it's not in the late 80s. I might be wrong, actually. 1989. So late 80s. 1989, which is crazy. Over 30 years ago, nearly 35 years ago, this film
Damn.
came out. It's just crazy.
Pre-Speed, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, pre-Speed. Speed's about 95, 96. around
Oh,
that
damn,
time.
really
So,
pre-Speed.
Yeah,
Is this Keanu's first role?
I mean, I'd probably say it's definitely his breakout role. Because
Yeah.
after this, he has the likes of obviously the other big films you probably could name, but this is probably the first big film that you could probably say, oh, that's Keanu Reeves. I know him from that. That's the earliest movie I can remember him from. So yeah.
Well, I think it's not exactly going to score massive points with the critics. It's just a good little fun film. It's nothing groundbreaking or anything like that. As we've established, you guys think that Keanu Reeves is the world's worst actor. So
I
that's not
didn't say.
getting any bonus.
I just said he's not a great actor, and I say that out of love, to be honest.
Yeah,
Pure-
it's better to be
That's
honest
Jeremy
with the
Renner.
people you love. You say Jeremy Renner?
Yeah, that's Jeremy Renner. He's the world's worst actor.
Oh, I mean,
Oh, he's a good actor.
I'm not even gonna respond to that.
He ruined Bourne.
I reckon Owen was the one who drove the snowplow recently. Was that
Yeah.
I wish I was.
you?
I was doing it for the guild. Doing it for the Actors Guild. He's been taking too many good roles with bad attitudes.
There you go.
Do you know that's George's favourite superhero, Hawkeye?
It's not. Don't even start.
Is he your least favourite? Is he in your bottom three?
No, I don't think he's in my
George's
bottom
top
three.
two.
Do you think he's anyone's favourite?
No.
Yeah,
Just-
definitely. Because the
On a quick tangent.
people that really like the comics, there's a really good run by Matt Fraction and I can't remember what the other person, Chuck Zadinsky or something like that. And there's a really good run of his stuff, and it's what a lot of the TV series was kind of based on. Was this amazing run? So people love it for that. And also, Old Man Hawkeye is pretty good.
Conveniently, that doesn't include Jeremy Renner.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
No, I don't think any of the films coming up will have Jeremy Renner in at all. So that's our brief little conversation on Jeremy Renner. So, George, give us a rating of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
I'm going to go in. It's obviously a good film, and like not quite cult classic, but it's got like a pretty good following. So I'm going to go in with a nice solid 60, which I think is a little high, but I like it.
Oh, yeah, well, you like it. That's the most important thing. So
Yeah, exactly.
I went for 60, and I like it. It's so sassy. George has gone from like really competitive to really sassy all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's what victory does.
Now, what kind of Owen we're going to get? So, immediate thoughts on George's score there, Owen. I feel like this is the time right now, really early doors, to get the mind games going, because that always works. Are you going to go right now? Or are you going to wait a little bit longer to wait for the mind games to start?
I'm not going to point out when the mind games begin. I'm just going to let George find that point on his own.
I just saw some sweat come down his
I haven't seen
forehead
Bill and Ted.
You haven't seen Bill and Ted?
No, I've not seen it. Is it like Dude, Where's My Car?
Well, I guess it's in a sense of like stoner comedy. I guess you could probably be labelled under that. But
Have you seen Dude, Where's My Car?
yeah,
That's a good film, isn't it?
that is
No.
I mean, for what it is, it's quite funny. But
Oh, for
Bill
what-
and
for what
Ted
it is
a lot better.
entertaining.
Bill and Ted is like a
I
classic
think it's-
that has lasted through the generations that have been.
So, who's Bill and who's Ted? Who's the co-star with Keanu Reeves in this film?
Alex Winter, who you may or may not know, he was in films like The Lost Boys, obviously the three Bill and Ted's, but then kind of when
There's 3 of them.
the third one came out in 2020. It was one of the first
Oh.
new releases of in the COVID lockdown. But yeah, he hasn't really been in a lot else. He hasn't had the same career that Keanu Reeves has had, but I think he's gone behind the camera and done kind of off-camera stuff. So he hasn't been kind of focus point, just like Keanu has in.
Oh, well, I've not seen it, so
That's very disappointing.
I'm gonna go in quite low. I don't think comedies score very well, especially if they're what you perceive as stoner comedies. I don't think that would be quite highly rated. But then again, you laugh at me, Ian, but you haven't seen Friday with Ice Cube and Chris Tucker.
Yes, I have.
So you have?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you told me you hadn't. When did you watch it?
I watched it last year.
Ah, there we go. So quite recently. So I will not be mocked on what I have and haven't seen when it comes to comedies.
Friday's great.
I'm gonna
Friday's
go in.
Great. But yeah, go.
I'm
for
gonna
it.
go in, yeah.
Yeah.
52. I'm going at
52. You should go on 52. George, you went
52.
for 60.
Yeah.
So you might have kind of been around that score. The closest is Owen. He was only 2 off. It's on 50. So Owen takes the early lead with the 2 points, and George gets the 1 point. So that means
that actually
Owen-
means go on.
So before we move on,
Do I get 1 point?
yeah, I've always done that.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
You get a pity point.
Yeah, you get a
Pity
point.
point.
Yeah, just to get you started. So at least you're not on 0. No one ends up on 0 ever in my game show. Okay? Everyone goes home with some kind
It
of...
always.
Everyone's a winner.
Apart from George.
Yeah, everyone's a winner. So before we move on, let's go into the world of Letterboxd, shall we? The wonderful, wonderful world of Letterboxd. So Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It's got an average of 3.7 out of 5 on Letterboxd, so it's actually quite highly rated for kind of what it is. So the top comment here is, and this will convince you, Owen, to watch this film, is I'm convinced that if we watch this film at least once a year, we will have most excellent world peace.
I don't want world peace.
Owen doesn't want world peace. Quote.
Yeah.
1st of March.
To be fair, we know what kind of world Owen wants to lead in his dictatorship. So
Some people don't deserve world peace.
When we launch our eventual politics podcast, we will talk in depth about Owen's political ideologies, but we won't go into it today. And then the last comment that I think is apt for the film is "Fuck the Matrix. This is Keanu's peak performance." Dare I say more? Have you been sold, Owen?
Says a lot.
Have you been sold?
No, that says it all, really. His best performance is in a 1989 stoner flick.
I say stoner. It's a PG movie, so there's no drugs in it. But if you're stoned and watching the film, you would absolutely still love it and have a great time. That's what I mean by a stoner. Like if you're high, like you can still love it. Well, let's move on. So Owen, you're on early lead of 2 points to 1. So you take the advantage this time. So the next film on the list is Point Break, the Keanu Reeves, Patrick Swayze movie from the early 90s. So your initial thoughts, Owen, is that higher or lower than Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure on 50?
Way higher. It's a good film, Point Break. I've seen it. I had it on VHS. I always enjoyed the stunts. Patrick Swayze was in it. I recognised him from Dirty Dancing and Ghost, which were 2 films that were always on Channel 5 when I was growing up on a Sunday afternoon, around about 6 o'clock. The only 2 films I ever seem to have royalties to. Royalties? Would you call it royalties?
it was like permission,
Permission.
license
permission.
or whatever.
Mm-mm.
They knew their audience. They knew that middle-aged mums were sitting at home on a Sunday afternoon looking for something to watch, and Ghost or Dirty Dancing always drew them in.
Yeah.
Even if it was on every 3 weeks.
Well, Owen, give us the synopsis for Point Break for people who don't know what the film is and what it's about.
It's about snowboarding and bank heists.
Well, don't you mean surfing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have I seen a different film?
Yeah,
Am I
this is
thinking of Cool Runnings?
Cool Runnings?
Well,
Is
that's
a Jamaican bobsled team.
Are you thinking of the Point Break remake, which I refuse to watch? I'm pretty sure there's some kind of like extreme snowboarding in that.
Maybe I am. I don't particularly remember what happens.
So-
This one has Gary
I just
Busey
know-
in it.
Yeah. So
Oh
lesson-
god, can't forget Gary Busey's
lesson
face, can you?
learned. never asked Owen ever again to give the synopsis of a movie. They basically snowboard and do bank robberies at the same time. I mean, you're half right, but it's not snowboarding.
They rob banks whilst snowboarding.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll,
It's really high speed.
I'll clear up a little bit more about what it is. So, Patrick Swayze's gang are bank robbers, and they rob banks with the masks and faces of ex-US presidents. And Keanu Reeves is an LAPD agent who gets put undercover to infiltrate the gang and get them arrested, but ultimately gets in quite deep with them. So
It's like The Town meets Heat.
yeah, if you like The Town, if you like Heat, it's very much in the same kind of.
With a touch of Cool Runnings for the sport.
Although Point Break came first, but technically Heat is a remake of Michael Mann's own movie LA Takedown from the 80s. Don't know if you knew that or not.
I didn't know that. I've never seen LA Takedown.
Neither have I.
I might actually add that to my list of films to watch.
Little movie Ian trivia there. So that's the synopsis for it. Personally, I love this film a lot. This is one of the first Keanu movies I was introduced to, and I just loved every minute of it. So, Owen, you said you think it's higher than 50. What score are you going to go with?
Can I ask one very, very, very quick question?
You may.
Who directed Gangs of New York? Not Gangs of New York, Escape from New York.
Escape from New York, that's John Carpenter.
Okay, yeah, sorry, continue with my score. My score is...
Wait, hang on.
John Carpenter did direct Point Break, just it's Catherine Bigelow directed Point Break, just if you did want to know who directed it. She did The Hurt Locker, which...
Catherine Bigelow?
Catherine Bigelow, yeah.
That's not a real name, surely. Is that a stage name?
No, that's her name.
Bigelow?
Bigelow, yeah, Bigelow.
Let's call her out like we did The Rock. This might get some attention. This might get some traction online.
So that's answer your very quick...
I'm going higher.
Are you going higher? Okay, let's give us your score, Owen. What are you going with?
I'm going higher. I'm going straight in with a score before I go on any more tangents. 64 I'm going for.
64. Okie dokie. So you've gone higher than 50 of 64. George, hoping you've also watched Point Break.
I have, and at one point I went to watch the remake, and it was so bad that I think I gave it maybe 10 minutes, and I was like, nah, I'm done. I think Owen's way too high though. Like,
Reasons why?
I just think it's like one of those films. It's not changing the game at all. It's just very much like, yeah, it's enjoyable, but in the same way that like Die Hard is enjoyable, but it's not groundbreaking.
It depends on how you assume is groundbreaking, because groundbreaking could be in many different ways and forms when it comes to film. It could
Like,
be
it's not the first. It's not like the first bank heist film.
No,
It's not. It doesn't add anything new to like the action genre.
Dr. Afternoon's better.
Right there we go. See, already I've been spouting films that are better. Like it added an element of like extreme sports with the surfing, and that was kind of it.
Just watch Cool Runnings and then watch Dr. Afternoon.
Two completely contrasting movies that you could ever pick.
Yeah.
It's like watch Marley and Me and then watch Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, never
yeah.
get Owen to a double feature at some kind of cinema or something. You know, if he's ever a guest, it'd never work out.
Give it a wide berth. So what did you go for again, Owen? Just remind me of your score that was ludicrously high.
64 I went for. George, what are you going to go for?
I think that is way too high. I think it is still higher. I think the temptation is to obviously just go down to 63, but I am a gentleman, so I will go for what I actually think it is. And I think it is 59.
Oh, okay. So just
quite close then.
So kind of roughly nearly in the middle. So you're both right with it being higher. One of you was actually one out, so really, really close. That was George, so he was the closest.
Wee.
So the score for Point Break is
What was it?
58. So not
Told you so.
particularly high. So George, you get the 2. Owen, you get the 1. So you're drawing now on 3 all. So
it's so tense.
So you're both drawing, but as Owen was leading, he will continue to be having the advantage for this next round and keep it that way. So the next film on the list after Point Break is Speed. So it's a film we have briefly mentioned already. And I'm going to put it out there, this is one of my favourite movies of all time.
Ooh, what?
Yeah.
Does Speed have a sequel with a speedboat?
It does have a sequel. It's called Speed Cruise Control. And Keanu Reeves refused to do it because he read the script and said it's ridiculous that it's on a boat. Even though he was going to be offered to paid like a record amount at the time, I believe, but just refused to do it. And Willem Dafoe is the villain in Speed 2 Cruise Control. So there's some movie trivia there for you. So, Speed, like I said, one of my favourite movies of all time personally. I love it. 1994 action movie. So
Why? Why is it one of your all-time favourite films?
right, okay, I'm going to give you some reasons why. Okay. First of all, Keanu Reeves.
The world's worst actor in your opinion?
Well, I mean, yeah, but very entertaining. Jeff Daniels.
Does he have short hair in Speed?
He does. He's got like a buzz cut.
Oh no, he does. Yeah, it's not straight back.
Yeah, Jeff Daniels. Jeff Daniels is great. Sandra Bullock.
Is he from Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah, he plays
I
like.
didn't even know he was in it.
Yeah, he plays. He's kind of like SWAT or like police, kind of like buddy.
Oh, okay. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, Dennis Hopper probably gives one of the best villain performances in an action movie. He's very, very good. And Sandra Bullock, need I say more? She's absolutely beautiful in this, and she's fantastic as well. But also, personally, I think it has brilliant pacing. It's got everything you want in an action movie. It's fun, energetic, has you on the edge of your seat. I love it. So that's why. Yeah. But anyway, listen, me, I'm not important. I'm just here to give you the scores. Owen, you get to go first. Speed, higher or lower than Point Break on 58?
It's got to be higher than 58. It's just of status, really. Do you know when I always think of Speed, I think of... Have you ever watched Father Ted?
Yeah.
There's a parody episode on Father Ted where Dougal gets a job as a milkman and he can't go below 3 miles per hour on the milk float because the previous milkman has like attached a bomb to it. It's absolutely brilliant.
Okay,
I forgot about that.
I haven't watched Father Ted, so I just need to watch that episode purely for my love for Speed. So
yeah, it's so good. It's hilarious.
You'll appreciate it.
Yeah,
you'll appreciate it so much. I'm glad somebody got the reference as well, even if it was George, my competition.
Yeah, it's better than no one.
Speed. I haven't seen another film. I've seen as a kid. I haven't seen as an adult. These kind of films you only watch once.
No.
Sorry if you love Point Break and Speed like Ian does.
You watch, the whole point is that you love it. You watch it again. It's an easy watch. Like,
right.
If it's a Friday night, Saturday night, you've got a beer, pizza or whatever. Let's put Speed on.
I've got better things to do, Ian.
What? Like what?
I've got better things to do.
Like what?
Then watch Speed and Point Break. Watch a film like Phone Box with Colin Farrell.
Phone Box.
Yeah, it's better than Speed.
Phone booth.
Phone booth. That's the one. I'm talking about the British version.
Yeah. The British remake.
Telephone box.
The British guy would no way keep on that phone that whole time. He'd be like, "Fuck you!" Puts the phone down, walks out.
Telephone box.
Go on then. See if you can hit me. I don't care. I hate my life. I live in Britain.
And it wouldn't be a gun; it'd be a machete. It'd just be someone waiting around the corner with a big machete. Speed. It's got to be higher, surely. Higher than 58, yeah, 100%. I'm going to go a nice round 70.
70?
Oh!
So Owen has gone Hoyer.
George, stop judging me.
70.
That's like your scores, man.
That hurt by how high that was.
It's a good film.
So I'm guessing George...
Ian watches it every Friday and Saturday night.
This is why I'm never able to record. I'm too busy watching Speed on repeat.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've already kind of given me a bit of an inkling there, George, that you're not going to go as high as 70, you're going to go lower. But the question is, are you going to go lower than Point Break on 58?
I think it is better than Point Break.
Right.
So I think it is higher than 58. There's no way in God's green earth it is 70, given that Inglourious Bastards is 69. I know we use that as the benchmark. We use that as the benchmark a lot, and we did that for the Fast and Furious films. But yeah, there's just no way in God's green earth that is the case. I am going to go higher, but I'm only going to go to 63. It's nowhere near 70.
Okay,
we'll see.
Well, so you're both right with it being higher. Owen is actually the closest.
Oh, what?
Thank you. George said it with his chest as well.
God's Green Earth, George. It's on 78.
What the hell?
78.
Where
George
is the
visibly shivered.
justice in the world?
Look,
That is
I
insane.
think that's a fair rating. I think that's
I
a
agree.
fair rating, but I get
Only because
that
you wank to
Inglourious-
Sandra Bullock every night.
How do you
Can
know?
we keep that in?
How do you know it's not about Dennis Hopper and his brilliant performance? You don't know what I do. So, Owen, you got the additional points there, so you take a 5-4 lead. Before we go any further, we will just jump into Land of Letterbox again, because otherwise I feel like George is going to moan. So...
Like you do to Sandra Bullock.
So I just want to point out right now that number one Gizmo fan is back, and I'm guessing it's a she because it's a picture of a woman. I don't know if it's actually her. And her comment is the fucking best film I have literally ever seen.
Is it just you? is this person just you?
Hello.
He's crediting himself.
That's why it comes up as the top one, because it's just your comments. You're just looking at your comments on these things.
It's all
the
just
only
different
explanation.
different burner accounts on Letterboxd.
They should be our first guest.
So let's move on to the next film. So Owen, you are still in the driving seat here, so you'll be taking the advantage. So the next film on the list is a film that probably is known as to be a revolution of its genre. It's The Matrix. I feel like this is a film that's universally loved. If you don't take into account the sequels, The Matrix itself, even as a standalone movie, would have worked really well. And I think it would probably be a bit more respected over time if it was just a singular movie.
Yeah.
Owen, as you're in the lead, you get to go first. Do you agree with that statement? Do you feel like it is like it's kind of a trademark of what you think a good sci-fi or great sci-fi movie is?
Completely agree with that statement that the sequels almost take the shine off of the original. It's not even like when you get a great film like The Bourne Identity is then followed by a brilliant film like The Bourne Supremacy. Even the sequel of The Matrix is poor. The first one's really, I think you could have rounded it off and just left it there and left the ending ambiguous for the viewer to make their own mind up on what followed that.
But you know why that wasn't the case, though, Owen? Do you know why? Money!
Money, 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 money!
The Warner Brothers executives were just like having baths of like $100 bills. It's like non-stop. The amount of money it made. The quality, poor. And the
amount of rip-offs it spawned as well.
Yeah. Well, we're talking the first Matrix, so the film that spawned a pop culture revelation as well, because it was almost like you said, it influenced so many other films, TV shows. Yeah, the bullet time, the jumping around. So, what do you think was the rating for the Matrix? So, do you think it's higher or lower than Speed on 78?
Mega high. I'm going high. I'm going 85.
85.
Stick that in your pipe and smoke it and get high, George. George is shitting himself.
To be honest, I am shitting myself because I was tempted to say that number as well. Yeah.
Of course you were. Are you going to go 84?
No, I had two numbers in my head, so I'm just going to go for the other one. So fuck you, you bald fuck.
Listen, I take offence to that as well now.
yeah, I forget. I'm ganged up on now. I'm outnumbered.
Hey, come on. There's two bald people and a ginger on this podcast. We've got to stick together. We're all in the minority of hair.
And we're all nerds. I feel like God didn't like us when he made him. So, George, I feel like you still want to go high, but you've had your number taken away. But you've got another one kind of in your head that you want to pick.
I do, yeah. It's a really great film. It's phenomenal, and like you said, it changed so much, not only in terms of sci-fi, but also the idea of taking more Hong Kong style stunts and bringing that into Western media was great. The other number I had in my head, which Owen will be very pissy about, was 83, because I think maybe, just maybe, the critics were a little bit like, oh, it's a bit bloated, maybe a bit self-indulgent, and then so they eked it lower. That's my gamble.
You've gone too low, George. My game's begin now. You've gone too low.
I think I have.
You've bottled it.
Well,
I think I have.
Are you going to lock that in? Because so Owen, you've gone with 85. George, you're going with 83.
I am going to lock that in.
Okay, so I can announce that both of you are incorrect. It's not higher.
What?
It's lower. It's lower than Speed on 78. It's on 73.
Oh,
It's lower. So you're both wrong.
why are
Retract my
people?
earlier statements.
Why are people? Why are people sucking off Speed so much? Like,
I
what
mean-
did me and Owen miss when we watched it?
Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
Sandra Bullock. I don't know how much more I can say this. You're missing out.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah, fair.
she's so good. But no, you're wrong. Unfortunately, it's lower.
At least we're both wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
You're both wrong.
Go down
So
together.
None of you get any points. So Owen, you're still in the lead. So you both got it wrong. So naturally, going for the Matrix, we're going to go on to the Matrix Reloaded. So the sequel to the Matrix. So Owen, high or low for the Matrix Reloaded?
Oh, imagine if it was higher. That would just be more of a slap in the face.
I mean, if it was higher,
I don't trust these critics.
I feel like we'd have to march to the offices of Metascore and demand some kind of explanation for that. But I'm not saying it is, you know.
Metacritic don't review the films; they collect aggregate scores.
Well,
This is coming from the man who, in every episode previously, has been saying what's wrong with Metacritic. They are the worst people. They've got the worst opinions.
Yeah. They shouldn't be publishing the results.
Right.
Yeah. In my case, I shoot the messenger.
so before we get your score, Owen, I also want to get your thoughts on the Matrix Reloaded because I watched it recently. I'd say recently, but last year because I haven't watched it for a while, and I actually turned it off halfway through.
Did you?
Oh, do you know what?
I used to always really enjoy it, but rewatching it again as I'm older, I'm like, this is boring. Really boring. The CGI is... I mean, I know CGI is bad in Revolutions, but it's bad in Reloaded. And I turned it off.
Yeah, with hindsight.
I just would rather...
Is
just
that not with
pretend-
hindsight, though?
Well, no, because I used to always really enjoy Reloaded. I thought it was really good. There's really good fight sequences in it, but I was just really not up for it.
Yeah, but are you judging the CGI by today's standards? Was it not good CGI for the time?
I don't think it was. I feel like it was bad CGI even for the time. It looked a bit animated.
See, I don't actually... I know it's an unpopular opinion and everyone hates the second and third one. I hate the second and third one because I feel like the first film was so evenly rounded and they should have just left it there. It almost ruins the legacy of the first one. But objectively, I don't hate the second and third films. I think they're watchable.
I think the second one is markedly better than the third one.
Oh yeah,
But they both pale in comparison, as you're saying, Owen. I wouldn't necessarily say the third one is super watchable.
Oh my god, me and George are actually ganging up on you this weekend.
Yeah, I do think the second one is better than Ian's given it credit for. Like, I watched it fairly recently because I wanted to watch it before I watched Resurrections, and I was actually like, oh, actually, I remembered disliking it a lot and watched it again recently. I was like, actually, not as bad as I thought it was.
See, I was complete opposite. I was like, I've always really thoroughly enjoyed this. It's good fun. And then I was like, this is actually really boring.
Yeah, but your favourite film is Speed, so...
One of my favourite movies. And I'm not the only one who agrees with that. Clearly, Metascore agree with that also on 78.
Yeah.
But who am I to say? Who am I to say? No one cares. Again, no one cares about the hosts. It's not about me. It's not my opinions. I'm just here to give you the scores. So, Owen, give me a score for The Matrix Reloaded.
Oh, this could either be jarringly high or disgustingly low. And I'm going to go somewhere in the middle and say 42.
Ooh.
I honestly think it could be lower than that. But I'm just going to take a stab in the dark and say 42.
Okay, so you're going with a drop of about, what?
Way lower.
Yeah, way lower. 41 less than The Matrix. So you've gone with 42. George?
Wait, 41 less than The Matrix? No, it's not, because The Matrix wasn't 83.
Oh yeah, 31. Look, I'm not good at math.
Ian's math's been exposed.
It's also not 31.
Is it not?
It's not good either because
No.
he's an accountant in his personal life.
It's 29, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Don't let Ian do your
yeah, it
accounts.
is. No, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right. Let's quickly move on. Owen's gone with 42. George, what are you going with?
I don't think it's as low as 42, but I'm going to
Good
go...
thinking.
to a nice round 50. I think just straight down the middle, neither amazing nor terrible, just down the middle.
Perfect. Okay, right. So you're both right with it being lower, but I think you've been a little bit harsh on Reloaded maybe with your scores. It's got a score of 62. It's only 11 less than The Matrix, which means that George was the closest with that score, which again brings it to a tie of 6 points all.
I do think that is a fair score. I think
that's a fair score. If going by how I used to see the Matrix Reloaded, it's an enjoyable action movie. So let's jump to the land of Letterboxd. So this has got an average rate of 3.3. So quite low. Someone put one of the most frustrating movies ever made.
Bit harsh.
But they gave it 3.5 out of 5, so that's quite high. High rating.
They reviewed The Last Jedi.
And then someone put, I was lied to for many years. This movie fucks, and gave it 5 stars. Okay.
Damn.
Again, this is not my burner account, I promise. Keanu Reeves, you're breathtaking. So going into the next round, Owen and George both on 6. So going into the last of the trilogy with the Matrix Revolutions. Quick thoughts on the Matrix Revolutions, because I feel like we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but generally kind of what is your actual thoughts on Revolutions? Is it really that bad?
I don't think I can differentiate between the second and third one. They're almost just one collectively just mediocre mesh to me. I don't really remember noticeable differences between them. I would if I watched them now, but on reflection, nothing really stands out between them.
I can see why you think that, because I'm pretty sure that Reloaded and Revolutions were shot back to back.
Well, they're meant to be one film, but it was too long.
Yeah, I don't know if it's supposed to be one film, but they were both released in the same year. So I'm pretty sure Reloaded was kind of released kind of like in the springtime of, 2003. And then Revolutions was released in the autumn or winter of the same year. So you had the two films released in the same year. So there's probably reasons why they seem quite similar, because they were filmed back to back, I think. There's probably reasons why. But it'd be really interesting to get scenes up or pictures from both films and then go to you, okay, which one's that from? And I don't think George's little smirk there going, actually, maybe Ian might be right with that. I don't think I'd be pretty good at kind of telling one from the other.
I was disagreeing up until that point, and then I was like, actually, and I was playing some things in my head. I was like, nah, you're right.
The only distinctive difference between 2 and 3 is that in the second one, there's 2 white dudes with dreadlocks. That's the only thing that makes the second one memorable. If you took those characters away, 2 and 3, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between them.
I would say there probably is one main difference. There is one main difference. If there's rain, then it's the third one, because it's like a torrential rainstorm in the third one for some reason. And that fight scene, it's fun, but I can't get past the terrible CG. It's just so bad.
I'd rather watch Phone Box.
Give me a score, Owen. What do you think the rating for Matrix Revolutions is?
I'm just going to go down in 10. I'm going to go 50.
You're going 50.
Surely it goes down and it doesn't go up. If it goes up, then let's just end the podcast now, because we'll change the format. Because Metacritic is just deliberately going out its way to fuck with us with these scores.
Imagine I went, and now it's the perfect time to announce we've got a guest host coming on from Metacritic themselves. Owen just told you to fuck yourself. How do you feel about that? So, Owen, you're going with 50. I think that's maybe smart, but I'm not giving it away. George, your thoughts?
In the middle.
Your thoughts on it?
I would personally say that it is less than 50, but I don't really think that my opinion means shit. So,
bear in mind, Reloaded is 62, so it doesn't have to be lower than what Owen said. It could just be lower than 62 still, or it could be higher. Who knows?
It's never going to be higher in a million years. I think that it is. I'm going to be tactical, annoyingly, 49.
Okay, yes, you're both right with being lower. George was the closest, only 2 out on 47.
Yes!
So George gets the very important bonus point and
Ooh.
goes 8-7 up, so you get to take the advantage. So the next film on the list is the DC movie Constantine. So is that higher or lower than The Matrix Revolutions on 47?
See, I was immediately going, yeah, it's got to be higher because I love this film so much.
I watched
think
it for the
it's
first time
great.
last year and I loved it.
So good. It's got is it Tilda Swinton in this?
Yeah, she plays one of the angels.
Oh, yeah, great, fantastic film. I'm a big comic guy, and I knew nothing about it going into it. Obviously, when I was younger, rewatched it as an adult, still know nothing about Constantine, and I just think it's absolutely top drawer. I think is Keanu Reeves trying to get a second one made.
Yes, so I believe that the director, Francis Lawrence, who directed it, has said that he wants to make a second one. And I think the studio are open to doing a second one. And Keanu Reeves was promoting a film last year, and someone asked him on a talk show if there's one character you could play again, who would it be? And he didn't even hesitate and said Constantine. He loved the experience of the film, loves the character, and wants to do another one. So I believe that they are working on a sequel, which would be epic. I'd love that.
Fabulous. Cool. I think fans really like it, obviously.
Yeah.
And Keanu loves it, so that's all we need. If Keanu's on it, then everybody else should be. I don't think the critics are going to be jumping for this one, though. I think it's higher than 47, but I'm only going to go to a 57. I was going to say 55, but I'm changing it to 57, giving it 2 extra points on how much I love it.
There you go.
Yeah.
And you like it.
I don't like it.
I don't like it. Owen, please tell me you've watched Constantine, because I mean, I'm saying it like I watched it when it first came out like 20 years ago. I only watched it December last year. Have you watched Constantine, Owen?
I've never even heard of it. Is it animated?
No.
Is that Constantine?
It's spelt Constantine, but it's Constantine.
I'm thinking of Coraline.
Oh.
You're thinking of Coraline. So basically, Constantine is a guy who kind of like kills dark souls, and basically he's like hired to do that. But he's dying. He's got terminal cancer, hasn't he, from all the smoking that he's done. So he knows he's kind of like on his way out, but he hasn't done enough to go to heaven. So he's currently going to hell. So he's trying to kind of atone.
Sounds like Ghost Rider.
Yeah, I suppose there's elements of other comics you can probably take and go, oh, it's similar to that and that. But yeah, he's trying to atone for the loss of his life by doing good things to try to get to heaven. And Keanu Reeves plays that character.
He does a cool thing with his like angel wing tattoos on his forearms and puts them together. It's cool.
Yeah.
I have no semblance of even like, I can't even picture the cover of the film. I don't think I've ever even heard of this.
Keanu Reeves, big angel wings behind him.
Yeah.
Nope,
walking
nothing.
through
There's
hell
no
with
ringing
like
any
a
bells.
big crossbow gun in his hand.
Yeah.
Nope. Nothing.
Dark
I would
suit.
Google it, but obviously I don't want to give away the score.
Oh yeah, true.
That's very true. Well, you can have a look
I'll Google it after this round.
Well, then you are in that unknown place centre, and you don't know about the film at all, so it's going to be a very rough guess. I feel like at this point, George is liking this.
So what was George's exact guess?
He went with 57 because he likes it.
57.
Yeah, 2 points because I like
It's
it.
got. I'm going to go higher than 47. Bearing in mind, I don't even know what this film is.
Right.
I've never even heard of it prior to this round. I'm going to go 49 because I just think superhero film, Keanu Reeves, that doesn't sell a good score to me. That sounds like an absolute tragedy.
Although it's a comic book adaptation, it definitely doesn't have the
Is it from the early 2000s?
2005. So it
Okay, yeah, 47. It's going to be shit.
wait.
It can't be
You can't do
47.
47. Yeah. Did you want to keep your same score you had before? Or do you want to change it? You had 49
49.
originally.
Oh, what? And the previous score was 47, right?
Yeah, so it can't be the same.
I'm going to go 48.
You know, 48. So just
No. No. I'm going to go lower, actually. I just remembered the rules.
You're going to go lower.
I'm going 46.
You're going 46. Okay,
Yeah,
so you're
46.
going lower. So there's been a split here. All I'm going to say, Owen, is that you're gonna really regret that because you were 1 off originally.
Oh.
So you're incorrect. So George, you are right, and obviously the closest as well. So you get the 2 points. Owen, you were 1 out. Constantine's on 50. You originally said 49. So with that, George takes a 3-point lead. Is 10-7 up.
Buddy, I feel so bad.
I don't want to talk about it.
That could be a big turning point in this, but we still have 3 more films left after, so there's still time.
Come on.
Let's move on. So we're on to the third from last movie. George, you are taking the advantage still, so you are in the lead. So next movie on the list is John Wick. So is that higher or lower than Constantine on 50?
Definitely higher. I say semi-confident, but then also Owen's in my head and I can see his little beady eyes drilling into me. Yeah, it's definitely higher. John,
I do have small beady eyes.
I think
our caricature picks up on that. My eyes are tiny. Have you seen it?
I think.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, it's fine. I think one of the things that I found most interesting about John Wick was all of the stuff with the Continental, like the hotel and this weird underground world of criminals and hitmen and things like that, and the rules of it. I thought that was like absolutely fascinating. And then as the films go on, it only got more interesting until it got a little bit not interesting in the third one. What? Why are you looking around?
Oh, I love John Wick. I love them all. I think they're all fantastic.
Oh no, I think the films in general are really good, and I love all of the action set pieces, and I think that is all great. But the whole the world that it's set in got a little bit, I guess, stale when he went into the desert and had his finger chopped off and shit like that.
I mean, it's fucking mental. But I feel like they're doing quite well. Because it could have gone in the complete opposite way and become hot garbage. Maybe you could have the good action scenes, but everything else was terrible. But I still feel like the storyline's doing well enough to have more, and they've got they've got the spin-off coming as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm really excited for that. I think that'd be great. But yeah, don't get me wrong. I think they are really good films, and I do like the plot of them and everything like that. I think there's just some of it where I was just like, I can suspend my disbelief for the idea that there's a hotel and there's rules within the hotel and things like that. But then the random guy in the desert in the tent and then all of that stuff was a bit far. But for the first one, setting it off, I think it did a really good job of bringing in the audience of people going like, oh, this is just another classic. Like a Taken, guy wants revenge and he just hunted down people. Great. And then setting up this weird kind of fantastical universe. I think it did a really good job. So it's definitely higher than 50. And I'm going to say that it is 63. 63. Not too high because I'm scared.
63. Okay, yeah. Okay, right. Owen, I've got a feeling you haven't watched John Wick. Why do I get that feeling?
I have seen John Wick. I've seen it once. I'm not a big John Wick fan, but now you've worried me because I see that you've done all of the Keanu Reeves films in chronological order of dates, and I'm worried the next 2 rounds are going to be John Wick 2 and John Wick 3, which I haven't seen either of those. I've only seen the original.
So you're worried?
But...
You're worried.
I'm worried. All right.
He's worried.
You just spur me on more to win now.
I don't care who wins. Because I'm always the winner.
I've seen the first John Wick, and I don't get it. I don't get it. It's the Bourne Identity if the Bourne Identity didn't have plot. It has no plot.
It does.
It's so boring and mundane.
They gangsters kill his dog. He comes out of retirement to take revenge. He's an ex-hitman. That
isn't plot. That's pathetic. I've seen soaps with more plot than that. You can watch EastEnders any given Tuesday and see more plot than that. That's pathetic. Do you know what? My personal score would be in the 10s. It would be in the 10s.
Oh, come on.
Yep. It's time to get controversial. Let's get the sound bites in for the Instagram. This film is hot garbage. The action scenes are good. If you want to see action, watch a Chinese film with subtitles. You don't need plot if you're doing that because you don't speak Mandarin. It's the same thing. I could watch John Wick on mute and get about the same level of enjoyment out of it. So, yeah. If you want to see action, watch The Raid. Don't watch John Wick. It's crap.
I mean,
absolutely.
I just want to
crap.
say, I think Owen has.
It didn't offend me, but it's crap.
I mean, Owen has racially stereotyped kung fu movies there for being Chinese, and then references The Raid, which is an Indonesian movie. But I'll let that slide. I'll let that slide.
I'll apologise now. I'm sorry.
Every kung fu movie that's existed is from Hong Kong, apparently, is Owen.
I mean, kung fu originates from China, so
You're right.
It's an easy mistake to make. I didn't know The Raid was Indonesian. Now I have more respect for Indonesian filmmaking and the Indonesian film market.
Directed by a Welshman, but yes, absolutely an Indonesian movie. Depends how you see it. Anyway, let's
Wait, you say directed by a Welshman?
Yeah, Gareth Evans directed The Raid, and The Raid.
Did he?
Yeah, Gareth Evans. Yeah,
the guy that did that monster film and then the Godzilla film.
No, that's Gareth Edwards.
Ah,
yeah,
right.
Very similar names.
Why are all Welsh people called Gareth?
It's a Welsh name.
Yeah,
lots of English people are called George.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because it's St George.
You have a Welsh name,
sense.
Owen.
Is Owen a Welsh name?
Yeah, Owen's a Welsh name.
I didn't pick it, so I wouldn't know. So what was George's score? 63.
Yeah.
63 because I'm scared.
I'm just going to go tactical. I know people love this film, and you don't get a sequel unless the first film was good. So I think by law of averages, it has to be higher than 63. I'm just going to go 64. If I could go 63 and a half to piss George off, I would. I'll go 64.
Yeah, you can't do halves, but so you're going with 64.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're both right, and Owen's been very smart there. He's got one above, and he is the closest. So he gets the 2 points. So he's on 9. George is on 11. The actual score for John Wick is 68. So that's very good.
I shouldn't have been scared.
You shouldn't have been scared. What I will say, I haven't done any of the taglines for the movies, but I feel like the tagline for John Wick on Letterboxd is perfect for Owen as well. It's don't set him off. Yeah, don't set him off. Don't get him started. Bloody hell, we'll be here for ages. So let's look at some top comments from Letterboxd for John Wick. So one of the top ones is it's got Willem Dafoe. You know, I'm something of an assassin myself. So let's quickly move on. So as we go into the penultimate round, George is on 11, Owen is on 9. So Owen, George, you take the advantage. So the next film on the list is John Wick Chapter 2. So is that higher or lower than John Wick on 68?
Just really quickly recap the scores because I wasn't listening.
Oh, sorry. George on 11, Owen on 9.
Cool. Oh, because he got one wrong. That's how we were.
He got one wrong. Yeah. You said, if I believe, that you feel like it. I was kind of getting the idea that they don't improve.
No, I think.
Or do you think they get better?
I think the best one is Chapter 2.
Right. Yeah, I probably would agree.
Yeah, I think the action like ramps up, the whole gun fu thing. Like, to be honest, I think one of the best things about John Wick is watching the Keanu Reeves training videos in the shooting ranges on Instagram.
It's
like
awesome.
It's so amazing, so satisfying to watch. But yeah, I think the second one ramps up the action and makes it way more entertaining, and it also builds the world even more and shows that they're not like afraid to push it to flesh out that world, which as I said before, I find like as one of the more interesting things about the film series. And then they just went a little bit too far in the third, unfortunately. But I think it's higher. I know Owen hasn't seen it, so I need to essentially get this spot on, because he's either going to go one higher or one lower than me. He's a little rat bastard. So I'm going to go with...
I'm rising above it.
I'm going to go for 71.
So you got higher, just slightly higher.
Just slightly.
71. Okay, Owen, again, you're a bit of disadvantage again. He haven't watched the movie. But do you...
What an idiot!
All right.
How is the sequel going to be...
me or
How?
Keanu Reeves? I don't know who you're referring to here. we need some clarity.
When is the sequel ever better than the original?
Empire
John
Strikes
Wick 2.
Apart from Terminator 2, which we don't talk
Aliens.
about for private reasons on this podcast.
Aliens, yeah.
Amongst the hosts.
Yeah.
No, Aliens better than Aliens.
You're wrong.
Aliens is better than Alien, personally.
You don't even like any of them. You don't like... Oh no, Ridley Scott didn't do the second one, did he?
No, yeah, James Cameron. I do not really Scott. He's just very inconsistent.
Oh, you want my score? What was George's
Well,
score?
you were losing your mind about the fact that I said that the sequel's better than the original.
Yeah,
But-
I feel like definitely hop back to that a little bit.
But you
I
haven't
mean-
seen it, so you can't
Yeah,
really
but-
say that.
I feel like if the sequel was better than the original, well, I would know that. I just feel like the original is like the best one. Is it the best one?
Two Towers is better than Fellowship.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, controversial.
I agree.
The action's better. The plot is about even.
So therefore it's a better
So
film.
it's better.
The plot's the same, but the
Depends.
action is better, therefore it brings it
I love how you just
Yeah, but-
said that it was actually better.
I define... This is back to the Batman Begins, the Dark Knight argument, because I think it's harder to do part one of a trilogy than it is to land part two, because you have to establish the characters, the lore, the world. I feel like the first film in any established trilogy has to do the most work, so you almost have to lay a little bit of extra credit on top.
But you don't get brownie points for effort with film critics. They're not like, oh, they tried really hard. There you go. Here's 10 points. It doesn't work like that.
But the first film has to carry the weight of the trilogy. If the first film is shit, you never get a shit first film in a trilogy, and then the second one and third one are good. It always declines over the three. Look at the Bourne series. First one, brilliant. Second one, brilliant. Third one, slightly less than brilliant.
I love the third one. But I will say, though, that I don't think that there's any intention when they made John Wick, 'cause it was so low budget, and it was very close, I think, to becoming like one of those, straight to DVD movies. It wasn't really expecting to do well. It just exploded, and I don't think there's ever really any intention to do John Wick 2, a 3, even a 4, or spin-off. I mean, it's just taken off really unexpectedly. So I don't think they necessarily were there worrying too much about the lore of the characters and the world. I think that it's very much, this is the one movie. If it does well, that'd be fantastic. But I don't think there's ever intention of that, I don't believe. So I don't think it's got that kind of same mindset as maybe like a Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, or where there's obviously going to be sequels. I don't think it was necessarily the case.
I have a point. Is there any trilogies where the third part of the trilogy is the best film?
Ooh. No.
No, I cannot think of a single film. No, I would say that's a hard no. An easy no. Actually, that's an easy no, because
Yeah.
Cause I'm trying to think of all like the films in the trilogy. Like Dark Knight Rises, no. The Godfather Part 3, no. Return of King's not the best one out of the three.
Iron Man 3?
No, that's second worst.
Are we only including cinema?
Oh no, don't get
Inside
started.
joke.
This is what I'm holding back on doing a Marvel one.
I'm
because
gonna reach.
I
I'm
feel
gonna
like-
reach in this screen and tear your fucking beard off.
Yeah, please don't do Marvel. If you've got that planned for future episodes, just please. Because it will get controversial. George will probably quit the podcast.
Just be me left with Owen trying to tell him how to put on record for an hour and a half. That would be the episode.
Yeah.
Right, let's get your score, Owen. Because George, you went with.
Can I ask what the title of the second film is?
It's called John Wick Chapter 2.
What's the full working title?
John Wick Chapter 2.
Is it not? It's got something. Is it not like parabolical or something stupid like that? What's the third one called?
Parabellum.
Oh, there we go. I thought that was the second one.
Yes,
They're that forgettable for me. What did George go for?
You can't say a film is forgettable. You haven't seen it. You can't, forget something you haven't seen.
It's that forgettable. I forgot to see it. How about that?
So George, what
did George go
Owen
for?
what you went for?
I'm just going tactical here.
I went with 70.
71, I think.
I think 71. To be honest, it's been about a year since I gave my score, and Owen went on his rant. So
for a film that he hasn't even
It's
watched.
been a long night for all of us. 70, just for the pure sake of pissing George off and being tactical. It's the only chance I've got at this point, isn't it? So 70.
Okay, so you're both right. George, you are the closest, so you got the 2 points.
Good.
So you go
There we go.
13,
Justice.
10 up. Not far off on 75, John Wick Chapter 2. So before we go
Owen,
into
you
the
can't
last-
you can't shake your head. You haven't seen it. You can't judge it.
I mean,
What-
How is the second one better than the first
It
one?
is. It builds everything. Like everything is elevated. Plot, action.
Nothing happens.
Oh.
There is no plot.
Although-
It's just
You
action.
haven't
Although-
seen it.
I think Owen is swayed by his partner Zuki because Zuki gave it 1 star on Letterboxd,
Ah.
and I've had a conversation with her about these movies before, and I was shocked that she didn't like them. So that may be why he's been.
She watched them with her ex.
He's.
So I think she harbours bad
Owen's too
feelings.
weak to have a different opinion on a movie. Moving on. So with that, George on 13, Owen on 10. Let's go on to the last one. So Owen, you need to get a spot on here, so it can go to sudden death. So there is still pressure on George. But I'm going to throw a curveball with this one. The last film, Toy Story 4. Toy Story 4. So a little bit of a curveball. I didn't want to go obvious for the last one.
Oh no.
He does. Yeah, oh no. I wanted to shake things up a little bit here. If you don't know, he plays Duke Kaboom. I believe that's his name. He's a like a stuntman toy that they come across throughout the film. He's pretty funny there. So that is how Keanu Reeves is in Toy Story 4, if you didn't know before. So George, you get the advantage in it. And he's stressing. You can't see, but he's stressing here. Is that
I
higher
am
or lower than
stressing.
John Wick 2 on 75?
I haven't seen Toy Story 4. I never got round to watching it. Oh no. There's make or break point. Right. Toy Story, generally beloved by all. However, I think there was a decline. I reckon there's a reason I haven't seen Toy Story 4, and I'm going to say that it dipped in quality, because the third one was great. So, last score was 75, wasn't it?
That is correct.
I'm going to say this is lower than 75, and I'm going to go down to 71 and cross all my stubby little fingers.
So he's gone down to 71. Okay, it's a big moment for you, Owen. Have you watched Toy Story 4? Interesting question, actually.
No,
Good.
I have not seen Toy Story 4.
So George's a little bit relieved there. So there's not really much you can really say about the film itself. I'll give you my thoughts after you give your scores, because I have watched Toy Story 4. Are you going to go along with the same with George? Are you going to go lower than the 75, or are you going to go higher?
I'm going to go lower than 75. Do I have to get it bang on to tie the score or to win?
You've got to get bang on to tie, but hoping that George doesn't get it
Oh.
right also. Because if George gets it right, if it being lower or higher, whatever, then
So I've got a 1 in 100
You
chance.
should
George
go
is-
higher is what you should do.
George just needs a point.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
George just needs a point basically, and then he's.
I'm going to go. Do you know what? To build up the tension, you say what you wanted to say about Toy Story 4, Ian, and then I will give my score. How about that?
No, you give
Just to drum
you
up a
give
bit of
me,
tension.
You give me your score, and I'll give
Stop
you
trying
my
to get.
thoughts.
Yeah.
Stop trying to get a hint.
Yeah, I'm not going to give you my thoughts on it right now. You tell me your score, and then I'm the host, mate. I'm in charge here. Give me a score.
I was sussed out so quickly then.
Yeah, I'm not falling that. I'm not that fucking stupid.
It wasn't exactly a master plan.
Right. Oh, I'm going to go. Right. I'm going to go. This could be the greatest moment in the Rating is Right podcast history if I get this bang on. I think if I get this right, George has to forfeit his victory. It's not a tie. I think I should win.
All right, we'll go golden
What?
goal.
All or nothing.
Right, so if you get this spot on, then George is giving up the win.
57.
57.
Oh, so you've gone lower.
57. Lower. 57.
Oh, so I just thought, I don't know why, I thought you were going to go the complete opposite way.
Yeah, I thought-
And
I
you
thought-
said- I thought you were going to go higher. But I don't know why, I don't know. Maybe you lot can tell me if you listen to this.
I'm unpredictable.
He is unpredictable. I'm always going to go higher, but he's going lower. 57. He's gone the same route as George. You're both wrong.
I don't care now. Old George is the winner. It's irrelevant.
It's
The
on
score.
84. So
Wow.
it ends up
Get out.
being the highest rated score on this list of Keanu Reeves movies.
Damn.
I would give my thoughts on Toy Story 4. It's a good movie. I think that's very highly rated for
Hold
what it
on.
is. It's nowhere near as good as the others. Nowhere near as good.
Right.
It's rated higher than The Matrix. Toy Story 4.
Yeah, but Pixar... I feel like Pixar movies are very well received and very highly rated. And it's a Pixar movie, even though it's...
Than The Matrix.
Yeah. Look, we need to get
disgusting.
representative on, don't we, from Metacritic and get them to explain.
We do.
Like, does
Yeah,
your scoring
exactly.
system work? Is it correct? But look,
Yeah.
we've picked it. We're committed now. So yeah,
Is
unfortunately,
it too late to change to IMBD?
huh?
Is it too late to change to IMBD? We're too deep into the podcast.
IMBD.
This is
That's the
IMBD.
bullshit. That is.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna keep with it for consistency reasons. So, just to round off there, so none of you got any points for that because you were wrong. So the end score is Owen with 10. George is the winner for this podcast with 13.
Oh, what's that? 3 in a row? 4 in a row?
That is 3 in a row for George. 18, 6, 14, 12, and 13, 10.
Hat-trick hero, baby.
So
Hat-trick hero.
the last win for Owen was episode 5, so it has been a little while now since your win. So George, give me your initial reactions. Are you happy with your performance today? Do you feel like you had it in the bag from the start?
No, it was way too close the whole way. I didn't like the back and forth that was happening from the off, but I think Owen not watching films is, as we proved with the Fast and Furious episode, Owen not watching films really saves my ass.
I feel like we need to be making a list of films that Owen hasn't watched and making a huge list. And that's like, if you ever lost of films to watch, take it from this list of movies that we discussed.
Here is your homework, Owen.
Can I request that George from now on plays with a mirror behind him so we can see what's going on his screen? Because I can never see his hands. Can I just say, you can always see where my hands are. You can see the reflection of my screen in my glasses. George has the advantage of non-reflective glasses, so we cannot see what he's Googling at all times.
At one point, you were like this, Owen, for a good minute. And I was like, should I pick up that he's on his phone right now? Is he potentially cheating? But he wasn't, clearly.
No. I was checking the football scores. Arsenal won 4-0.
Super
That's all I was doing.
So yeah.
There's no pride in cheating, George.
Well, with that, George, as you are the winner, you get to give a recommendation for everyone, including ourselves, to watch. And we have to make it very clear because Owen picked a TV show. It's a recommendation of a movie.
Of a movie.
Not a TV show, a movie to watch. So let's hear your recommendation.
I'm gonna see. I'm kind of torn now because I had one in my mind going into this, but now that we've done this and knowing that we have got a very shaky agreement that Owen will have to watch this film between now and the next recording, I feel like it needs to be John Wick 2. It just has to be, and now that I've said it out loud, Owen has to watch it because otherwise everyone's going to be so disappointed and our 40 listeners will kick off about it.
I'm intrigued actually. What was your...
That's generous.
What was your original pick going to be?
So my original pick was The Harder They Fall, which was a Netflix Western with Jonathan Majors, yeah. And I came out of Ant-Man and it was up, and I'm watching like a few Westerns. 3:10 to Yuma I watched recently as well.
Good film.
And then this one popped up and it looked a bit crap, to be honest. But people were like, it's got a great soundtrack and it's just like an enjoyable romp. And it was actually, it was pretty enjoyable. Idris Elba's in it, he's the villain. Just like a posse kind of has to do, they're kind of trying to get revenge. It is generally a decent film to go and watch. So that would have been my recommendation.
Okay. I
However,
feel like
fuck you, Owen. John Wick 2.
I feel like Owen's had a few enjoyable romps in his time.
I'll watch.
He completely zoned
I'll
out
watch
for
the
a good
enjoyable
5
romp.
minutes there.
Yeah.
What was the first one
The
called?
first one was The Harder They Fall on Netflix.
Maybe I will watch that.
It is
Enjoyable
right.
romp. I've never heard anyone
You sold me on
ever
it.
explain a reason to watch a film because it's an enjoyable romp. That is a first on the podcast and in my lifetime, I would say as well.
That's a very common phrase.
Back me up here. Have you ever heard someone say that?
What's a romp?
It's like a bit of fun, isn't it?
A romp.
Yeah,
In it? What's
You
this?
can tell George is from Hertfordshire.
you have a romp. You go and have a romp together.
It's an enjoyable and I like it. That's
Exactly. Yeah.
George's
my
we're gonna trademark
catchphrase.
those catchphrases now.
Yeah.
I like it, an enjoyable romp. Moving on from those enjoyable romps, we're going to wrap up now for episode 8. So I just want to say thank you for everyone for listening to this new episode, and we hope to hear from you soon. See you all later.
Bye.
See ya.
It's the rating. It's the rating. Rating. It's the rating. It's the rating.
The Rating is Right podcast is hosted by Ian Crow and co-hosted by George Robinson and Owen Cox. The show is edited by George Robinson with music by Will Butler. You can find the podcast on Instagram under the handle The Rating is Right, or you can contact the hosts on their email address, theratingisright@gmail.com, if you have any suggestions or want to discuss your thoughts on previous episodes. Thanks for listening.